Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm Magic. He's Aaron. This is the Magic Mike Show. Aaron, welcome back. You've been on this as often as I have lately.
Yeah, I feel like I'm on it all the time, but that's fine. That's good. I enjoy being on, whether it be with Somich or Somich. So it's nice to be on once again. I'm just kidding, obviously. Always good to be on with Magic. And, we don't do as many shows together as we used to. So that's kind of makes this fun when we get to do the Hawthorne show here soon. And then obviously this show here. We should have a good time. And my goodness, this is going to be a fun sequence, I think.
It's going to be a fun sequence. We're covering Del Mar's late pick 5 on Saturday, July 27th. We've got the San Diego Handicap. We've got the Bing Crosby Stakes. Some great horses, big stars coming out at Del Mar. Last weekend, opening weekend, Saturday, there was one single pick 6 ticket that was hit for about $250,000, and nobody hit it on Sunday at all. So it had a huge carryover to today when we're recording it. I'm very curious to see what happens with that because I know tomorrow we're going to have Dudes After Dark covering Del Mar, and they're hoping that there's a big carryover for that as well.
Yeah, make sure to join in for Dudes After Dark. A lot of times they've had to, because it's after dark, and you know this better than anybody, Magic. They had to do some smaller tracks, but on Fridays during the summer, Del Mar starts at 7:00 Eastern time. So you get to cover a main track there, and the racing's very good. I did the handicapping for that a little bit earlier today, and I think the racing's gonna be good tomorrow. So that'll be a good show. Who knows? I may drop in as well because I'll be sitting around just watching Del Mar. And are you going to be against Dudes After Dark or Dudes After Dark? Are you going to be on TVG or FanDuel tomorrow?
I am on from noon to 3 p.m. So good. It'll be right before the card starts. I think it's a 4 p.m. local start time for that. Yeah. They haven't asked me to go down to Del Mar yet, and I'm guessing that they might not, which I understand. They probably don't want to put me out in public. But I was hoping to get a fees paid trip to Del Mar, as they say.
Well, you'll just have to rely on the racing dudes for that, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's we also, because this podcast Thursday, this is the first of 4 live shows, right? 4 live shows. So we've got Magic Mike. After this, we're going to have a 10-minute break, and then we'll do the Hawthorne live show. If you're not familiar, we cover Hawthorne's late pick 3 live here. And not only that, but they let us stream the feed, which is incredible. It is groundbreaking. No tracks let anybody do that. So it's really awesome that Hawthorne's do it. And last week, we put together, myself, and Mike Somich, we put together a pick 3 ticket that actually cashed pretty nicely, considering it was a big, heavy favorite that won it. So join us for that one. After that's done, stay here. It's Dudes Who Bet Sports, episode 200. Congratulations in advance to you guys. You're doing Saratoga's late pick 5. So if you tuned into Magic Mike Show wanting Saratoga, just go check out Aaron and Papa Dude doing Saratoga's late pick 5. And then if you still are alive and not dead inside, Aaron, then it's blinkers off.
Well, blinkers off will happen whether I'm dead inside or not. That'll actually be show number 5 on the day because I was on VSiN just a little bit ago. So look, look at me now versus look at me at 8:30 Central Time when I'm on the whatever stakes race he's asked to do, and then kind of compare the two. But right now, energetic, ready to go, ready to crush.
Rockingham Ranch has several horses throughout the card at Del Mar, as Michael Olsen mentions. By the way, Michael Olsen, I told Aaron this. I learned today that Gary Hartunian, who operates as Rockingham Ranch, literally 2 blocks that way is where he lives. Literally 2 blocks that way is where he lives from my house. So I've walked my dog past his house many times and not realized that, that's Gary Hartunian's house. Okay, so just there's a lot of people in this area. Don't know many of them, but at least I know that Gary's right there.
I love it. There you go. Now, what do you know? Don't tell me what you're going to do to his house. We'll make that be a surprise.
Dozen double-A eggs coming up. No, I'm just kidding. Coming up, actually, it's the Del Mar late pick 5, Saturday, July 27th. Let's get into it, Aaron. Riders up. All right, Aaron, the first leg of the late pick 5 at Del Mar on Saturday, July 27th, race number 7, It is the Daisy Cutter handicap for 8 fillies and mares, sprinting 5 furlongs on the turf. Note that on the screen here, you see the number 4, Doris May will scratch. We have a couple early scratches for this late pick 5 sequence. This will be the first one. Where'd you go on top in this race?
Yeah, I went number 5, Elm Drive on top to kick it off here. I did go 4 deep, though, so not just totally confident in anybody here. But Elm Drive dropping out of a couple of graded stakes races at Keeneland and Churchill Downs to kick off, also a grade 3 race to kick off the season at Santa Anita as well. Ran pretty well in all 3 of them, just barely defeated in all 3 of them by nice horses. And now we get this ungraded stakes race. Got back home. I think that's going to be big coming back home. Diamato on the turf. I mean, there's just too many things to kind of list here with Elm Drive. So this is the one I put on top. I think the reason I didn't choose to go a little bit shorter, it maybe only play her and one other one, is the horse has had trouble winning races lately, right? And I think that's the big kind of scare, Magic. But again, dropping down in class, so that's obviously going to help, but trouble finishing the job, kind of. So, but still, number 5, Elm Drive on top for me.
Second choice for me for all the reasons you mentioned, including why we're both going 4 deep here, is we're like, well, this horse is good, but she struggles to finish the job. Her last 8 starts, she hasn't done it. She has a couple of seconds by ahead, but you're like, eventually one of those needs to turn into a win. But she's been in 10 stakes since she joined D'Amato, all stakes races. 8 of them were graded. So class drop, I guess I would say a little bit, but not too much. There's actually 3 Phil D'Amatos in here. Another one's gonna be my top pick. That's the number 2, Connie Swingle at 3-1. This horse is an impressive 4 for 5 on turf, including a stakes win 2 races back. She had an M1X allowance score over the track and distance. The only question for her is we haven't seen this horse in a really long time, but Phil D'Amato fires at 21%, positive ROI off of similar layoffs. And she's been working steadily over the synthetic track at Santa Anita since April 8th. She's got 3.5 months of foundation under her without a break, without missing anything. So she should be as fit as possible here. So you combine that with the fact that Kyle Frey is going to keep them out. He seems to handle her very, very well. I'm going to take a swing with Connie Swingle as my top pick.
Well, we just flipped them because I put the 2 in second. So Connie Swingle, I won't talk too much about that horse past what you just said because it makes a lot of sense. And again, like I said with the 5, Elm Drive, maybe having trouble finishing races. This 2-horse Connie Swingle, no problem finishing races, but you laid it out 637 days, October 29, 2022. That's the last time we saw her. Got beat by a nice horse that day too, Amy C. So I mentioned I went 4 deep, the 2, the 5. I also used the 8 and the 9. Really good Gates Wire effort last time out for the 8 off of a long layoff. Guess what? Another Diamato. It's almost like we like him on the turf here in California. So threw him on there. And the 9, Stay and Scam, a horse that's going to cut back in distance a little bit after 3 straight races, going a mile. One last time out. But I kind of look at some of the races at 6.5 and that one here at Del Mar at 5 furlongs. Pretty darn good performances. I think the cutback's going to help her as well. So I was pretty chalky, 2, 5, 8, 9, just trying to get through this first leg.
I left the 8 off, not because Rockingham Ranch doesn't own the horse anymore. I'm not close, but I just thought this horse is kind of speed, but is setting it up for the other horses. I don't see her finishing the job against this group. Now, the last out race was a career high buyer. I don't know what her time form says, but that was a career high buyer figure for her. However, it was only an 83, and that's going to beat the 2 3-year-olds that are in this race, and that's it. So passing on her for that one. But I'm with you on the 9, Stay and Scam. Another classy horse. I love this one. And I think she's usually better at a mile. So this could be kind of a spot where Doug O'Neill said, we've got to get her to race into her before we target something a little bit longer. But she has won at 5 furlongs on this course before. It was by 4.5 lengths. So maybe she's just really good no matter what, up to a mile is the case on Stay and Scam. Last horse for me, I went with the 7, Eversmart. I went with a long shot here. And this is kind of a hunch play for me. This is a daughter of Broken Vow out of a Smart Strike mare. So she's been running route races almost her entire career. And because of that breeding, you see why. I wonder if now cutting back to 5 furlongs and not dropping down to an allowance race, but going to a handicap, a 5 furlong handicap on the turf, what if that might wake her up a little bit? That at this point in her career, she's got enough juice. I shouldn't say that. She's got enough oomph to go to go strong for 5 furlongs, but a mile might be too much. Neil Drysdale is a Hall of Fame trainer. Did not mean to use that word against him. Sorry, Neil. But I also love the fact that Hector Berrios rides this horse when he's been riding Antifona, the rail horse, for John Sadler the last 5 starts. Berrios is usually first call rider for Sadler in a lot of cases. Not going to keep them out there. And I don't think that he got replaced by Reese Pulley. I think that the recent success that Berrios has had with Drysdale, he went out to Colonial Downs and won with the Beverly D Preview Stakes with Anisette. I think this horse is got a chance here. And Hector Berrios rode it one time. It was a mile race, second by a neck. I get 15-1 long shot. This is the last horse to make my ticket. So if I'm not making it sound like she's a superstar here or a real live long shot, there's another 15-1 Aaron and I are both really excited about later. But 15-1, last horse on for me. It's $72 ticket. If you take this off, it's 54. So if you wanted to play my ticket just a little cheaper, take the 7 off.
Well, I think, look, there's worse 15-1 shots you can back. This horse does know how to win. Class-wise, she's not going to be overwhelmed. There's no question about that. But again, the distance was the big thing for me. I just was not sure this is kind of where she wanted to run. It almost felt to me like a little bit of a let's get a race under her belt, and then we'll stretch her out next time. But look, there's crazier horses to play. Like I said, she did win at 6.5 at Santa Anita way back in the day. So look, 15-1 probably should be, but maybe she can. I mean, if she wins, you're going to be really sweating the next 4 races.
And that sweat starts with a single in the second leg of the late pick 5. It's the race 8, the grade 2 San Diego Handicap. Field of 5 now with the scratch of the 6. Subsanador. Spoiler alert, Aaron and I are both singling the 3-5 favorite Arabian Knight. This has been the target for him for months. It was San Diego. They'll probably go Pacific Classic because he won that race last year. Skip the Awesome again, go to the Breeders' Cup Classic. Like that seems to be the exact path. San Diego, Pacific Classic, Breeders' Cup Classic, Pegasus, Stallion Bar, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that seems to be it. And we've kind of been waiting for this horse to come back. And like you said, they targeted this. He obviously is a horse like many of Baffert's that may not be the most sound. So they're kind of going, okay, let's try to bring him along to those big goals that you talked about. Let's bring him along and not run him now. We're not run him, say, in the Met Mile or a race like that and wear him down. Let's get him to peak at Breeders' Cup season. And that's kind of the goal. But yeah, you look at this race, there's just not much else I think that's going to go with this horse early. And when you just look at the past performances of Arabian Knight, when he's been able to get the lead and get it clear, they haven't been able to catch him. And when he's gotten pressured, he's gotten beat. Now, even those 2 races where he got pressured and got beat, he was 3 3/4 lengths away from winning the Haskell, and he was 2.5 lengths away from winning the Breeders' Cup Classic. Those are still 2 quote unquote pretty good efforts in losses, right? So yeah, I do not think this horse will get pressured up front. And also, I think a 1.16 miles, that's a really good distance for him. I've always thought 1.16 miles, he's at the absolute best. Obviously, he can stretch out and win going longer. We've seen him do it. But to me, if he's ready, he breaks well, gets to the front. I don't think they're going to catch him. I don't love anybody else in this field a lot either. That's another reason. So yeah, simple single for me.
I love that Arabian Knight's work pattern. He had a couple of good 6 furlong works to build some endurance. It's a classic Baffert move. And then out of those 2, he goes 47 3 and 4 furlongs. Baffert's like, okay, you're fit. Are you fast? Oh yeah, you're fast. Okay, now we're good. If he doesn't win, if someone was like, I want to try and beat Arabian Knight, do you go with Dr. Venkman, who seems to have 2-turn pedigree, but has never gone beyond 7 furlongs? Do you go with Newgrange? Who did you recommend that people use?
Yeah, I think Newgrange is the most logical second choice for sure. And the horse has won some big races out here, races very similar to this, minus an Arabian Knight, but still decent enough fields for Southern California, older division. So Newgrange makes a ton of sense if you want to take an alternative. I thought Dr. Venkman was really interesting as well. I think he's the other logical horse, stretching out in distance for the first time. And I know that's a little bit of the question mark, but you kind of look at the pedigree of the 3 Dr. Venkman. Ghost Zapper out of an Arch mare. If you don't remember Arch, he won the Arkansas Derby at 1.125 miles. Of course, Ghost Zapper, a Breeders' Cup Classic winner. So I think 1.16 miles well within the realm. Second start off the layoff. Ran okay last time out sprinting in the grade 2 triple bend. So he makes a little bit of sense as well. I think the 3 and the 5 are the 2 logical alternatives to the big favorite. And I could, if the 3 or 5 win, I wouldn't be just totally shocked. Although I feel strongly on Arabian Knight, it wouldn't be just a total shock.
I would go with Dr. Venkman as well. By the way, Arch also won the Southwest Stakes, which has now the purse has increased to $1 million for that. Like they're just printing money at Oaklawn. Like you want to go out there, they're just throwing. It's like Kentucky Downs, which sent out I think 5 or 6 different press release emails today saying how much money they're going to put into their purses. But they wanted the Nashville Derby to be a $3 million race at Kentucky Downs, and Oaklawn's like, all right, we'll just throw $1 million at the Southwest, which is a 20-point Kentucky Derby prep race.
Yeah, a grade 3 race. When I first started going to Oakland Park, the Southwest was worth $250,000. So it's pretty. Now this is no lie. The Smarty Jones was 100, the Southwest was 250, and the Rebel was 300. And now the Rebel's like 1.2, I think. So Derby's 1.5, and the Southwest now $1 million. It's insane.
I mean, the Smarty Jones is going to be worth $500,000 here pretty soon. Let's move on. We're both on Arabian Knight here. We think he's a pretty logical, easy single. Race 9 is the third leg of the Del Mar Late Pick 5, and this is a 1-mile turf route for 12 males at the N1X allowance optional claiming level. There's 2 scratches here. One of them is the 5 Habeas. Also, there were 2 also eligible horses. The 14 Hudson Ridge will not make the field, but the 13 Fly the Sky draws in. Where'd you go on top here?
Yeah, this one's kind of it's a weird one, right? I went as deep as I could. I went 4 deep. Gosh, as far on top, I'm going to give him one more chance. I'm going to go number 9, Faustin, on top here. You think, well, it's 5-2, but he really, to me, was very disappointing in his last 2 races. So if you don't remember Faustin, a very impressive maiden special weight winner, opening day 2022. Then ran next in the San Vicente. He was 3 years old, 2-year-old when he broke the maiden, then 3-year-old for that Derby season. Second in the San Vicente, but we thought, okay, stretch out next time, we'll be good. Well, like many of these Bafferts, 433 days later, he's finally back as a 4-year-old. He was really, I thought, ran well on the turf, got second 2 races back at the same level, going a mile, only beat a half length. Tried the dirt last time out. I really thought he would roll third, beating a length. He has shown over and over, he just kind of lacks that last kick to get it done. I still think this is a really good spot. I'm not blown away by anybody here. I went number 9, Faustin, on top. However, I did go 4 deep.
I'm going to go number 9, Faustin, on top. I thought that turf race 2 back, the one time he tried turf, was sneaky good in the sense that he broke on top from post 11 and had to go 2 turns, and that's not easy to do. And he managed to hang around there the whole time. And one of Shotty's favorite horses, Alligato, or Alligator Cat, as she likes to call him, beat him by a half length there. But now you're getting Juan Hernandez aboard for the second time. He was aboard for the last start when the horse, I agree with you, probably should have gotten by. But maybe the turf will allow him to get a little bit more of a kick into gear. It is worth noting that the horse that Faustin was kind of running on the front end with throughout, Mystification, he did get past him. Alligato came from like almost last place to nail him there on the wire. So a good effort there. He'll be part of the early pace. I think he's in a much better post here from post 9 than post 11. And then post 8 because of the scratch of the 5. Next up for me, it's the number 7 Halfway Line. This horse is 5-1 on the morning line. I thought the last out going down the hill at Santa Anita was pretty sneaky. He got buried in traffic through the turn, came off the dirt crossing, had to tap on the brakes, stumbled a tiny bit, and he still somehow finishes very strong and gallops out ahead of everybody else. And he comes back to a mile. It's 2 wins, 2 seconds, and 4 starts at the distance in France. I think this horse at this price is going to be forgotten about a little bit, and I'm going to try and take advantage with Halfway Line with Hector Barrios riding for Phil D'Amato.
I like the Halfway Line as well. I used him on the ticket. A lot of the same things you saw, I saw as well. I'll give you one a little bit of a longer price on the 11 Giovinazzo. I thought this horse was kind of interesting. We're going second off the claim for Sadler. I do like that angle. I thought the horse was decent last time out, and I think this is your horse that's going to get the lead. I think from this outside post, the horse has enough natural speed to cross over. And sometimes, this turf course, especially as we get late in the day, can play to speed pretty decently. I just thought, man, this is an interesting horse at 10-1. I did not want to leave this horse off. Again, I think this one can clear the field. Some of the other speed horses I'm not that interested in outside of him and Faustin. So look, I'm going to give the 11 Giovinazzo a hard look here. Do you have any interest in that horse?
I looked at him. My issue with Giovinazzo is I thought he kind of runs in place a bit. He doesn't really have any kind of advancement. But if you think he's going to be on the front end, he can just run in place up there and get the win. You've got a Sen jockey in Raylu Gutierrez taking them out. Raylu was aboard for Sadler when they won at, there was a 68-1 Schwartzmeyer on opening weekend that knocked Mike and I both out of that pick 5. The race that Miramati's dumbass was the horse, not the race caller. Race caller is great. The horse is a dumbass.
Right.
Habeas on the, like, what is he, post 5? I think with him scratching out of this, you've got kind of a lone lead situation here with him. So it makes him dangerous once the 5 is scratched out for sure.
Yeah. And then also I took the number 3 smart code. That was the other one. So I went 3, 7, 9, 11. And look, this is a horse that had a lot of class, but is coming off of a long layoff, which is kind of the theme of this sequence at times at Del Mar. A lot of horses coming off layoffs, but Smart Code was another one. I thought, hey, look, we love Glad as a trainer, gets Rispoli aboard. Rispoli on the turf right now, just picked up right where he left off, man. He's been doing great. This horse is working really well as well coming into this one. So that was the last one on the ticket. Do you have anybody else?
I did. I was back and forth between Smart Code, who I left off in favor of the 2, Ottoman Prince, kind of the other Phil D'Amato, along with Halfway Line. Not because he's the other Phil, or just because he's the other Phil D'Amato. He's an Irish bred, and Phil D'Amato with Irish breds on the turf at Del Mar can just sometimes do something magical with them. And this horse had 3 races at Santa Anita after coming from Great Britain, where he was running pretty well. He had 3 wins and a close second there. Then he comes to Santa Anita. 3 flat efforts, kind of, low to mid 80s buyers there, but nothing that makes you go, yeah, that was fantastic. So why is he still with D'Amato? Why hasn't he class dropped? Why is he still at the spot? I think D'Amato believes in this horse more than what the horse has shown in the afternoon. I love Kazushi Kamura riding this horse, even though Kazushi was 0 for 14 to start the meet. As just opening weekend, I'm not going to read too much into that. He's a fantastic rider. I like that D'Amato's giving him some chances on turf horses. So I threw Ottoman Prince on here at 15-1, thinking there's a chance that D'Amato's just going to untap something different with this horse at Del Mar on the turf.
All right. Well, Kimura over Okada. Definitely not Kazuski Okada. You would not like him riding the 2 horse, but Kimura, sure, I could see it. I didn't consider this horse. So good luck to you. Hopefully you get it done.
If you can't win, then hopefully it's that one. The 4 lottery pick I looked at, his buyers fit really well from 2023 on the turf. He had a win at Del Mar going to Mount the 16th. He was second, beaten less than a length the race before that. But the big concern for me is Peter Urton off of a long layoff like this is 9%. He's not good. Second off is when you want to play Urton with these long layoffs. So kind of for me, lottery pick's going to watch and see where he goes next time.
Oh, totally. I circled this horse and said next time. Literally wrote next time by this horse. So I'm with you. And you're right. Peter Urton off the layoff, not the best. But those second out races, he gets them ready. He kind of it's the theory of working them into shape versus running them into shape, and it's just a different theory for each trainer. And for him, I think he runs them into shape a little bit. And so yeah, next time out, hey, I hope the horse finishes like 8th and is muddied up, and the next time out we'll come back and we'll know that angle.
Race 9 is the penultimate leg of the late pick 5. Sorry, race 10. We just did race 9. Race 10. Is the penultimate leg of the Del Mar Late Pick 5, Saturday, July 27th. It's the Grade 1 Bing Crosby Stakes. It's a win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup Sprint. The defending champion is in here. That's the 8, the Chosen Vron. We do have 1 scratch of Roll on Big Joe, so a field of 8 males. Where'd you go on top?
Yeah, listen, I put the Chosen Vron on top. I just feel like this horse is just so damn consistent. I could not do it. I kept thinking of different ways, but at the end of the day, when I would put a different horse on top, I'd be like, yeah, but the Chosen Vron's better than that horse. And so I would go ahead and put him back. So yeah, look, I think the 8 Chosen Vron's the one to beat. This has been incredible what he's done. 18 of 23 wins lifetime. Horse won a ton of races in a row, lost the Breeders' Cup Sprint, and then has won a ton of races in a row again, 5 wins in a row after that. He's beaten Open Company, several times. He beat Open Company right here in this race last year. And look, I think he can do it again. I kind of like where he's positioned here to the outside. He's a horse that can take the lead or if somebody's really going fast, he'll sit right off of you. I got to put him on the ticket. I got to put him on top. Number 8, Chosen Vron on top for me.
So last year, I tried to take a shot against the Chosen Vron and it didn't work out very well for me. I'm going to try it again. I respect the hell out of this horse. He's so cool. If he wins this race, he's going to be the 20th ranked Callbred all time in terms of earnings and does not show any signs so far of slowing down. Not worried about last out in the Thor's Echo when he got only a 90 buyer, which is the lowest on the page by quite a bit. He could have won that thing. First of all, he could have won that with an 80 buyer, but also he could have won that race backwards. Like he just was out there for fun. It was a $98,000 stakes, and Derek Cooljack was like, I mean, we're eligible. Why wouldn't we just go make more money with this horse? So not going to blame him for that one. Respect the hell out of the horse. I'm going to pass on him. How about the morning line on the number 9 Jackstown? 15-1. This is a Bob Baffert horse making the 3rd career start. First 2 wins were by open lengths. Not coming off of the long layoff. That was last time out when he won as the 40-cent favorite. Baffert goes right up to the Bing Crosby. He goes, no, wait, screw the N2X, screw like some sort of minor stakes, screw going to Saratoga. We're going to go to the Bing effing Crosby with Jackstown because we think he's that good. So I put him on top. 15-1. I said to you before we went on air, you wouldn't get 15-1 if you did Arabian Knight, Faustin, Jackstown straight pick 3. Maybe you could touch 15-1. What does he go off at? Like 3-1? Do you think?
Probably. I mean, I did not know the morning lines until I got on here with you off the air as we were getting ready to do the show. You said, "Oh, the morning lines are out," and you got to guess what Jackstown would be, and I would have guessed like 3-4-1 probably. And yeah, 15-1. And you said it best. Like going right to a stakes is obviously a very good sign. Folks, this horse came off a 684-day layoff last time out to win an allowance with ease. And now off of just one race in 684 days, we're going to the Bing Crosby. I mean, to me, it's an ultimate sign that they've got a lot of confidence in this horse. I'm using the horse as well. Did not put him on top, but look, I'm with you, Magic. I mean, he's the second best horse in the race, in my opinion, if he progresses again. And why wouldn't he? Bob Baffert horse is running off the screen. That's no surprise. It's happened already at Del Mar, and he seems to have some good ones loaded up and ready for this one. And I think Jackstown makes a ton of sense in the spot.
Let's see. Next up for me, because of the scratch of Roll on Big Joe. I forgot what his name was. Roll on Big Joe was kind of a pace horse. I think that makes it even better for Straight No Chaser, the number 3. This is the fastest horse early anyways. He's drawn inside. The Anarchist is quick, but I don't think he's fast enough to go with Straight No Chaser early. So when you take out the 5, suddenly it's like, well, shit, who's going to go with Straight No Chaser? And the way that speed plays at Del Mar on the dirt, especially in the summertime, there's a very real chance he could go gate to wire here. We saw him freak at Oaklawn doing that. We saw him freak in the Maryland Sprint last year doing that. The Run Happy, he stumbled pretty badly, recovered, didn't quite get up there, but still I thought was a good effort. And now he comes back here. I think he's got a really strong chance to go gate to wire, Aaron.
Yeah, I was between the 3 and the 6 for the horses I want to use for my third horse on the ticket here, and I chose the 6, but I don't blame you at all for choosing the 3 Straight No Chaser. You said it. This is a horse that's dangerous. If you remember that Maryland Sprint he won, that was on Pimlico or on Preakness Day up at Pimlico. And we all kind of were looking around like, dang, he may be like the real deal. And then we never saw him for 357 days. He does come back in the Run Happy. Like you said, he stumbled. He just wasn't very sharp. Didn't run very well. He was 3-5 that day. Second off the bench. Yeah, I think this horse could improve. And you mentioned it. He is working fast, really, really fast. So I get it. But in the end, I did choose the number 6, Close the Game Sugar instead. Look, I low-key kind of love this horse. I thought the 2 races at Churchill were really good. He beat Skelly last time out, or 2 races back, I should say. He beat Skelly. Skelly's going to be a big favorite in a grade 1 race up at Saratoga. Not saying he's going to win or lose, but saying he will be the favorite. Also, that is a bad sprinting bunch up at the NYRA circuit this year. But anyway, look, nice win there. Came back to win again. I ended up putting the 6 on the ticket instead of the 3. Hopefully, I don't regret it.
I went 3-6-9.
Okay.
Damn, you're fine. I like the 6 as well. Knocked me out the Kelly's Landing. It wasn't the horse. He was double-digit odds on the morning line in the Kelly's Landing and went off as the $1.44 favorite. I remember sitting there in the FanDuel studios looking at that going, this is how I lose my ticket because everybody's on this horse that Linda Rice's nephew, Adam, is training. And you talked about the NYRA circuit being very weak for the sprinters. They'll have small fields quite assuredly for the big grade 1 races. Why wouldn't Adam Rice go there with this horse? I mean, he's the horse has won twice at Saratoga. It was on the turf, but Adam Rice usually is in that region. He sends this horse out here to Del Mar because it's a grade 1 winning you're in for the sprint, which will be happening at Del Mar. I think that this is them saying, we think we've got a Breeders' Cup sprint contender. Let's see how he handles the track, how he handles shipping. I think all sides. By the way, if Irad Ortiz Jr. was anywhere on this side of the country, you bet your ass he'd be riding. But okay, we're going to have to go with Humberto Rispoli, who only went 5 for 14 to start opening weekend.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point about coming out here thinking, hey, this is where they're going to run the Breeders' Cup. This is a winning you're in for the Breeders' Cup. Let's go out there. Let's see what we got. Let's see how he handles it. And I think you're right. I think that's exactly what it is, because if it wasn't, he would be in the Vanderbilt where he beat the horse that was going to be 2 or 3 to 5, right? So, I agree. And, you threw out the Chosen Vron, so that gives you that leverage there to use both the 3 and the 6 where I had to debate it. So, and kind of some of the things you said was, okay, this wins the debate. The 6 coming out here, winning 2 in a row, beating a nice horse. He's the one on the ticket for me. So I think he's got a pretty big future. This is a horse that had no dirt races until he came back this year, and he's 2 for 3 and has looked really good.
And when it comes to Breeders' Cup time, there's always like one horse. I'm not saying it will be this one, but it could be, where it's like everything in the past was a little different. And this year something changed, something clicked. And it's like, holy shit, this horse is a monster right now. So you could be seeing that with possibly with close.
And sorry, Magic, not to interrupt you, but the biggest example of all, a horse we both bet in the Breeders' Cup Classic last year, who came together out of nowhere. And we wouldn't bet him at 100-1 right now in the Classic because he's totally falling apart again. It can happen. It does happen. And that could be what's happening with this horse.
And White Abarro is still a super pretty white horse.
Oh, yes.
Neither of us, we're not using either Doug O'Neill horse. And I think they both have a chance. Anarchist on the rail. I thought the race in the Kelly's Landing was not to his liking. He usually likes to come from off the pace, but he broke from the rail and just kind of had to go. But before that, he'd run some good races. It was second by a head to the Chosen Vron in this race, won the Pat O'Brien Stakes. Though, if I remember right, he finished that final furlong in like 14 seconds. Like, he was screaming for the wire, begging for the wire, but still got the win. And then Happy Jack, the horse that 99% of America thought won the Kentucky Derby at first glance. He seems to be better as a sprinter. He's one of those horses that after the Derby fever wore off, they went, okay, what's he best at? Let's try one turn. He's got back-to-back triple-digit buyers, 101 and then 105 for winning the Triple Bend, but neither of us are using either O'Neill horse. Are you worried about that?
I'm worried about Happy Jack a little bit. I do think he's a horse that if he wins, you go, yeah, well, Happy Jack knocked me out of a pick 5. That's great. You'd be pretty mad about it. He's done well since cutting back, so you got to give him credit. He's turned into a serviceable horse for sure. Anarchist, kind of taking a wait and see with that horse. Bet the horse last year actually in this race. And boy, what a brutal defeat that was to get beat that day. And that's kind of who he is. He's had trouble finishing races. I'm not famous last words as I say this. I'm not totally scared of him. Happy Jack is a little bit scary. And by the way, shout out to Raylu Gutierrez. He just won the first race at Del Mar with a nice ride. So good job, Raylu.
Hey, Raylu. There you go. I'm sure Shotty's very happy. There you go.
I'm very happy as well because I bet him to win. So
hey, all right, that's the best part. All right, fifth and final leg of the late pick 5 at Del Mar on Saturday, July 27th, race 11. Oh, I love these Del Mar closing races. It's like New York, but with good horses. We've got a mile turf route for 12 3-year-old maiden fillies. There are still 2 also eligibles that may or may not scratch in. We'll see what happens come race day, but they're maiden fillies, 3 years old, a mile on the turf, big field. Where'd you got on top?
Yeah, this is a mess, and I've been tweaking this ticket as we've been talking because it's just a mess. And I, on top, I'm debating it still on who exactly I'm going to put on top, but I went with the 12 Spanish Cara on top, or Cara on top. I don't know how you would say the name, but that is a horse coming over from overseas. And Rispoli gets the mount for a Gallagher, and he just doesn't ride for Gallagher all that much. And so I thought that's really interesting that Rispoli hops on here. So that's why I put the 12 on top. But look, it is an unknown horse. We don't know a ton about this horse. Other than 3 races overseas, all 3 were decent, just couldn't get the job done. So the 12 was kind of where I started, and I built out from there.
I left the 12 off because of the post. I think the 12 is going to be a winner sooner than later in America, but the post is what scared me off, especially a horse that's coming out of all 5 furlong sprints and now is being asked to go 2 turns. And now you got to navigate around this big field but Rispoli does very well for Gallagher when he rides. I think 17%. And a son of Ravens Pass. I forgot about daughter of Ravens Pass. I forgot about this horse. Won the 2008 Breeders' Cup Classic when it was synthetic at Santa Anita for John Gosden and Frankie Dettori. It's like, yeah, Gosden and Dettori came over here and won the Breeders' Cup Classic in the past. Oh, by the way, they were 10th beaten 10 lengths at first point of call, and they won that race. It's pretty, and a horse that he consistently had lost to all year long for, I think it was Aiden, Henry the Navigator. He got him in the end there. Got a horse was second. Anyways, I had fun going down that rabbit hole. I think Spanish Cara, she's going to be a good filly. I just think the post is going to hurt her a little too much. A top pick for me. I mean, if you heard the last turf race, you got to know where I'm going. Phil D'Amato's got 2 Irish breds in here. I put them both on top. Number 6, Step It Out. I gave the slight edge at 9-2. The Grandsire and Damsire, both top-notch turf route producers. Brings solid form from overseas and has been working very steadily. According to Clocker reports, Step It Out was working with rehearsal last week. Did look a little bit better, but they both seem to be doing well. As far as rehearsal, if you look at her running lines in Europe, she tended to be forwardly placed, and you're putting Edwin Maldonado on this one. I think that the 7 is going to be sent or try to be sent, and that the 6 is going to try and stalk.
All right, I'm with you. 6-7. I'm going to go 6-7 as on my ticket as well. I went for deep. I'm with you. 6, 7, 12, though the overseas shippers, the unknowns, and they come in, like I said, D'Amato's got 2, Rispoli rides the other. To me, it's just kind of that's easy there. And then the 9 is the American horse that I'm going to use. So 6, 7, 9, 12 for me. And the 9's been close. She's the law, been very, very close. It's Michael, and I may have to adjust that now. We've got the same horses, but this horse has been close. Another Glatt horse, and you and I both love to bet on Mark Glatt. So yeah, that's where I'm going.
Sometimes to our own detriment, quite often to our own detriment, but we still like to bet Mark Glatt. I thought it was interesting that Abel Cedillo is going to ride this horse too. I know that Frisu's on one of the D'Amatos, Dettori's in New York, Herrera's he's somewhere on this card. And Flavien Prat's in New York. So we had to go somewhere else. But Abel Cedillo back in California is going to get this mount. So I know that he and Glatt have done well together in the past. Last horse for me, because I went 6, 7, 9. I threw the 4 on Ashley at 10-1. And I kept not wanting to. And I kept coming back to this horse. The reason I say I didn't want to is I never, ever, ever am on the right side of a John Sheriff's horse unless it's Honor AP. Never in my life have I been like worse at a trainer than John Sheriff's. And 93% of the time this year, I've been correct, but he's got 4 wins from 60 starters this year. He started opening weekend with 2 wins. So half his wins came in one weekend at Del Mar. Is the barn suddenly hot? Is it because they're at Del Mar, or did he just get plumb lucky? I don't know, but I watched this horse's replays. I thought that she actually looked pretty good as a 4th place finisher in her mile debut at Santa Anita. She broke from post 9. She broke sharp and had to cross over, kind of run wide. The horse that she was pressing the pace with, or who was set the pace that she was pressing, ended up fading to be 7th in that race. So she kicked on to stay 4th within 2 lengths of She's the Law, who finished 2nd, and then Willa T, who I'm passing on because of the post position. She's admired out there in post 10. That's where Herrera's at. I knew he was somewhere in this race. I also think because of this inside draw, she's got a slight chance to go gate to wire. The 3 is coming out of sprint races. The 2 is coming out of a sprint race. The 1 doesn't seem to have much speed. I really think that the 4 Ashley, I hate the name as well, but, I think she's got a good chance to go gate to wire here.
If you're listening here to this show, go ahead and bet the 4 to win right now. Last horse off the ticket for me. So I could definitely see myself being live and then the 4 wins. So go ahead and bet the 4 to win in that race. You totally hit all the points. I see it as the 4 gets the lead, the 9 kind of hounds, the 9 takes over, the 4 gives way, and then here come the European horses if they're good enough. That's how I viewed the race. But if the 9 doesn't break well, let's say, all of a sudden Ashley's out there by herself, and then it becomes a whole different thing. Or maybe the 9 doesn't want to do her what I think she's going to do, and the 4's out there by herself. There's a lot of things that could happen. There's not a lot of speed past those 2 horses, though. So that's the pace situation is definitely something you got to consider. And like I said, she'll probably win. I left her off, so she'll probably win.
The question mark in terms of the pace just comes down to what is the Maldonado D'Amato do, the 7 horse. That European speed, you taught me this. European speed is not the same as American speed, so she's not breaking from the rail. We'll see what she does. Before we go with the tickets one last time, what's the story on this? You taught Dr. Miranda how to start a lawnmower.
Yeah, I didn't have this on my list today of stuff that could happen, but I got a random text asking how to start a push mower, and I told her, and she was able to do it. And I guess she cut her front yard. I know she cut her front yard. So shout out to her for doing it, and shout out to me for. I'm just one of those guys. Whatever you need, just text me, and I'll be able to help. And if I don't know the answer, I'll make something up. So it make you feel okay after the message. That's what I'm about.
I was gonna say that's the key point is Aaron will respond, and he'll probably have made something up. So you just need to know, like, you got to try and read Aaron to try and understand, does he actually know this answer, or is he just making this up and it's gonna explode in my face?
Well, I knew the answer to her question today. So I was quick to give that answer. And shout out though, because you got to pull the handle, you got to pull the string or whatever. So it's not easy, but she was able to do it. So give her a big pat on the back.
Step 1, clamp down. Step 2, pull the ripcord.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
And when you need to turn it off, let go.
Just let go. Exactly. She said her hands hurt from holding it. I said, yeah, I know. Anyway.
Not gonna touch that one. Anyways, by the way, if you didn't know this, Dr. Miranda, don't mow the lawn, especially with a push mower, but just don't mow the lawn in general with flip flops on. There was a girl in my high school that she didn't cut her toes off, but she was wearing it in like flip flops, and she was mowing like a big lawn, and it stained her feet. Like it took her like almost a week to get the green stains from the grass off of her feet because it was just. They didn't have the bag on the back. It just was shooting out all over. She also didn't. Yeah, there's a lot of things wrong with that girl. But Dr. Miranda says that she's a doctor. She's a lot smarter than this woman is.
Well, I think that makes sense. I mean, my mowing, quote unquote, mowing shoes are terribly grass stained. So I would imagine it would do the same thing to feet. So yeah.
Shotty's got one of those Tesla mowers. Has to charge it 4 times to finish the lawn. Well, Shotty has to mow the lawn now because she used to have a yard mule, which I didn't know was a thing, but. I guess her yard mule used to cut the lawn for her. Anyways,
I don't know what that is.
We need to end this and take a break before Hawthorne. We got to hit reset. We'll give out our tickets one last time for the podcast listeners. If you're watching us on screen, take a look down below. I'll start. I'm going to go 2579, single the 4, then 279, 369, and 4679. That is actually a $72 ticket. I forgot to update that. And bingo. There we go. $72 for me. What about you, Aaron?
All right, 2589 with 4, with 37911, with 689, with 67912. That's $96 for me.
Dr. Miranda update. She wore pants and tennis shoes and almost had a heat stroke. Screw HOAs. Yeah. Shotty, it's a mule that lives in your yard, thus a yard mule. Arkansas, man, it's a different world out there.
That's interesting. Okay, I didn't know that was a thing. Okay.
Of all the things that we've learned about Shotty, getting to know her over the years, having a yard mule, it ranks right up there in terms of the most. Okay. Things.
I mean, when I meet people that aren't from the Midwest, they think I'm very Southern, and then I was like, you have no idea. Like, I mean. There's people that have yard mules, okay? Like, and they're like, what? Like,
you're like freaking Manhattan boy over here compared to some of these folks.
Well, the further south you go, it gets interesting. I'll just leave it at that. So it doesn't totally shock me.
when they start running out of electric lights and plumbing, that's when it starts to get interesting. Anyways, over on the Racing Dudes website, you can get the pre-order, the betting Bible. I always want to say inside track. You got me programmed on that. The betting Bible for this Jim Dandy Stakes. It's at Saratoga, so the entire card is going to be covered there. Picks from Aaron, picks from Jared, top 4 from everyone on the team. I know that you guys are working on that right now. Well, sending in our top 4s eventually today, and then tomorrow, Friday, when you're listening to this, it will be out live. So that's exciting. Jim Dandy Stakes, it's the Vanderbilts there. What else am I forgetting? Because the Amsterdam is Friday. There's one more stakes race.
I don't think there is.
Or is there just the 2?
I think it's just
I think I was thinking the Amsterdam was on Saturday, but they put it on Friday this year.
Put it on Friday. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we still got a lot of great races there at Saratoga. You can check that out. Make sure you stay tuned in. In half an hour, we'll be live with the Hawthorne late pick 3 races 7, 8, and 9. They are on the turf this time. It is quite yielding, but they're on the turf. So we at least got that going for us. So tune in for Aaron and I will be previewing and actually not previewing, but giving out our picks live on air for that one. As soon as that's over, Aaron's going to go do Dudes Who Bet Sports episode 200, Saratoga late pick 5 with Papa Dude. And as soon as that's over, Aaron's going to talk to Jared on Blinkers Off about the Jim Dandy and the Vanderbilt and the Bing Crosby and the San Diego. So just repeat everything. Actually, what you should do, Aaron, is you should have been recording yourself. When we talked about Bing Crosby, hit record and then stop. And then hit record and stop on San Diego. And then when Jared says, what do you think about this? Just hold it up and just go play.
No, what I should do, I also did preview videos for YouTube for
That's
that.
true.
So he asked it, I'll just play the preview video on the screen. How funny would that be if he didn't know it was coming? My God, that'd be hilarious. I'd love that.
We'll plan better for next time. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We're going to get out here a little bit early just so we can take a quick break and prep for the Hawthorne show. We'd love to see you over there if you're able to catch it. We're doing this every Thursday throughout the Hawthorne meet. We love that our friends at Hawthorne are working with us. We had a big turnout for viewership last week. We hit the pick 3, so come join us and make some money and just have some fun in the chat. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Yeah, no, I think that's good. We'll wrap it up there. And like I said, we'll be doing Hawthorne. With Saratoga or Del Mar's got something going on, we'll mention that as well. We don't have to do Hawthorne 24/7. So if you're like, yeah, I'd like to watch, but maybe not all Hawthorne, don't worry. We'll cover a little bit of everything as well. So a lot going on. Like I said, show number 2 done, 3 to go for me. I'm still full of energy. I'm ready for the Hawthorne show. That could be where things fall apart. Tune in to find out.
We'll be back next week with another Magic Mike show. Thanks, everybody. Stay tuned for all the fun on the Racing News YouTube channel.
The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.